Maybe you want to learn how to solve quadratic equations quite easily. Then I'm glad to tell you this video is just for you. In this video, I will go through 3 different methods for solving 3 different types of quadratic equations. I will teach you how to isolating the variable. It will work if you have x squared term and constant term. I will teach you the zero product rule if all terms containing the variable x. And I will teach you how to solve if you have an equation with both x squared term and x term and constant term. And then we are using the quadratic formula. The key point is to use the right method for the right kind of equation. We start with the first equation, 2x squared minus 8 equals 0. And with this method, it's very important that we have no x terms. Okay, so how to solve this equation? The thing is to get x squared at itself for one side. So we will get rid of the minus 8 and then get rid of this multiplication with 2 and at last with this exponent. So at first we add 8 for both sides in the equation and are getting 2x squared equals 8. Then it's time to do the opposite to multiplication. So we divide by 2 on both sides and then we have x squared equals 4. And the opposite to x squared, to raising a number by 2, is to take the square root. So on both sides we take the square root, but now it's a very important thing. If you take the square root in an equation like this, you get 2 solutions, a positive one and a negative one. So you have to write like this, a plus and a minus sign, and then the square root of 4. The square root of 4 equals 2, because 2 times itself equals 4. So the 2 solutions are x1 equals 2 and x2 equals minus 2. And this is how to use this method, isolating the variable. Next equation is this one. We have 3x squared equals 12x, and now we will use the zero product rule. In this video, I will only teach you how to do this if all terms containing the variable x, and we don't have any constant terms. So we will start with this little thing here. We will gather all terms on one side only to make one side be equal to 0, like this. This is the first step always. Make a 0 on one side. Next step is to factorize the left side here. And then we have to find some common factors on 3x squared and minus 12x. And the common factors are 3 on both terms here, because 3x squared equals 3 times x times x. And minus 12x equals minus 3 times 4 times x. So we find a number 3 in both terms, and we find an x on both terms. So we can place 3x in front of a parenthesis like this, and what's left in the parenthesis is x from the first term, and then we have minus 4 from the other term. And now the left side is factorized. We have a multiplication sign here, invisible, and 2 factors. One red here, and the whole parenthesis, like this. And I know that this is correct, because if I take 3x and multiply it with x, I got back to 3x squared. This will be correct. And if I take 3x and multiply with minus 4, I get minus 12x. So these 2 rows are equal to each other. Okay, the zero product rule tells me one thing. The zero product rule, if you have 2 boxes like this and the multiplication between them gets the product 0, then I am absolutely sure about one thing, that one of the boxes must be equal to 0. So we have two boxes. We have this one here, right here, 3x, and we have this box right here. So we're looking at the first box here. If 3x is equal to 0, then x must be 0. And here is our first solution to our equation. If x equals 0, then we're getting like 3 times 0 and times 0 minus 4. And this must be 0 because we have a factor here that is 0. So this will be a solution. And then we're looking at the other factor, the whole parenthesis. If the whole parenthesis equals 0, then x must be a positive number 4. So here we go and write x equals 4. Because if we place number 4 here, then the parenthesis will be 0. So then it will be like 3 times 4 instead, and then times a parenthesis with 4 minus 4. And this will also be 0 because here we have a factor 0. So here are the two solutions. So x equals 0 and x equals 4. And at last we have the quadratic formula, and we will use this method if we have an equation with all three types of terms, x squared and x and constants. And this isn't so hard as it looks, but you have to be careful, of course. So the first thing is to notice that one side must be 0. If it isn't 0, you will have to start by sending over all terms to the other side. But we have 0 on our side here, so it's okay. Next thing is to realize that minus 2 equals a in the formula. We have to realize that plus 6 equals b and that minus 4 equals c. And then the only thing is to place these numbers inside the formula right here. Very carefully. So, hang on. Like this. X equals, and we're writing from left to right. A minus from the formula, and then we place b, number 6 here. And then plus minus sign, and then a big square root. We take the number b and square it, so 6 times itself, like this. You can write 36 at once, if you want to, of course. And then we have a minus, we are placing a number 4, and then multiply with a. And a is the red one, it's minus 2, like this. And then multiply with c, minus 4. And then we divide everything by 2 times the number a. And the number a is the red one, minus 2. And then we have placed all the numbers inside the formula. Now it's time to simplify this. So x equals minus 6 plus minus. The square root will be 36 in the first term. And then in the next one we have 3 minus signs multiplied with each other. And if we have 3 negative numbers, then it will be minus. And then 4 times 2 equals 8, and then times 4 again, then we have 32. And then we divide by minus 4. And now we have a negative sign here, and then we can cancel them out. So like this. And of course you have to change sign here also, but this already contains both signs, so you don't have to change this one. You can keep it as it is. So you have this. You have 6 plus minus the square root of 4 inside, and then divide by 4. And the square root of 4 equals 2, because 2 times itself equals 4. And then we have that x equals 6 plus minus 2 divided by 4. And then we have the two solutions. We have x1 equals 6 plus 2 divided by 4. And then we have 8 over 4, and then it must be 2. And the other solution is when we take a negative sign here, so 6 minus 2 divided by 4, and then we have 4 over 4 equals 1. So the two solutions are 2 and 1. And then we have covered all 3 methods here, and this is enough for this video. In another video, I will teach you how to solve a lot of these equations. We will go through like 25 of them or something. See you then. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please subscribe and send a comment. Then I will be very, very glad. Bye bye. I am Jonas, by the way, a Swedish math teacher.